when you start, you're given a chance. And if you haven't had the chat with yourself where you say, what do I want to start? What are people going to say about it in a year? What will I have created? What kind of reference point will I be? If you don't answer those questions and then hold yourself to it, how can you possibly be at peace with yourself about what you've made?
Yeah.
Now, if just making something is your goal, that's fine. But it's not really most people's goals.
It's a moving target, that.
Yeah. And so we were like, no. I want us to be a reference point for this industry. I want our first piece of work to be, disruptive, anarchic, provocative, without any of the restraints of where we'd been. And it just so happened it ended up being OVO with Slayer as a soundtrack, to your point about music, massive metalhead all my life. And so I believe as well, the act of answering those questions is partly you writing your own dream and writing a script for your future. I believe in that. Other people use manifesting, whatever. The point is this: if you don't paint yourself a picture of your future, how on earth could you hope it'll go okay?
Yep.
What's okay?
Yeah. And a lot of people won't do that because they're like, well, now I've got this harsh judge, and if I'm not hitting it, I failed.
Yeah. And I don't think it wasn't necessarily monetary at all for us. It was more, there's a sequence of events and a type of work we want to make and a way of being in this industry and in the world. And if we're not going to adhere to that, we may as well just be any fucking agency.
Yep.
And that way lies death, because ultimately you've done all that stuff. You've been sued, you've left, you've done all that crap. And all you've done is started a thing a bit like everything else.
Yes.
And that's why it's important. So I don't buy that it's okay just to start and see where it goes. Things will go like that, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
The trick is having something fixed, I think, or a question or a compass of some sort that enables you to keep it moving forwards. So that question I brought up from Grey, a company that people wish existed, that's still the goal now.
Yeah, well, that's on your website, isn't it? That's maybe the only thing on the website.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. The website's a bit of a joke.
Well, I mean, yeah, we don't want to get started on websites, do we? But the couple of things I want to pick up on from David that seems like influenced your style.
Patton, yeah, David Patton, yeah.
One is you can't ask permission, you have to do it, and then show them that it worked.
Yeah.
And the other is subsidiary organization. It sounds like David went, okay, I trust you to handle this.
He was a brilliant leader.
A lot of people, brilliant leadership is that just trusting people to handle things.
Yeah.
Instead of
it's a part of it.
Okay.
I think if you're not a creative and you're in the creative industry, that was an appropriate way to lead, which is, if you're not going to be the one in a room going, we're about this and it's about that and it's about this, and you're actually more of a conductor or a foil to that electricity, then I think that's the appropriate way to lead. There's a great photo of Tom Ford with a guy called Domenico De Sol, who most people won't recognize. He looks like an old Christopher Lee. They're in the back of a car. And I used to give talks where I'd show that photo and I'd go, who's that? And everyone would go, it's fucking Tom Ford. I go, who's that? And no one would have a clue. Now, Domenico was the guy in charge of Gucci when he brought Tom on. Right. And he would say to Tom, right, we currently make 3,000 products. I want to make 300. You tell me what they are. You design the fucking purse. I don't give a shit. But I've set you the guardrails for success because I know that 300 excellent products is the key to success. And that's the kind of relationship I think I had with David, where David went, I know what the business needs to look like money-wise. I know the type of disciplines it needs to be modern. I know the type of work and conversations we need to be in for it to work, but I can't do it. Mm-hmm. So Nils might be able to, as might John Williams, as might Neil Horston. I'll get the fuck out of the way for those guys and see what happens.
Yeah, it sounds similar to Michael Imperioli, famously portrayed Christopher Moltisanti on The Sopranos, said the best director he worked with was Scorsese, not just because he was Scorsese, but the reason he was great was because he said, I hired you because I like your style. I'm not going to tell you how to act it. Show me what you got.
Yeah.
Is that similar to how you work with creatives?
No.
Okay.
No, creatively, I'm far more, I think there's a difference. I think, like I say, I think that type of leadership, if you're a business or structural leader, and by the way, I don't think they're devoid of vision. I just think it's different. I think creatively, I think we're not mechanical enough with each other. I think I'd love to get into music with you at some point, but I think fame isn't luck. I think music isn't luck. I think emotion isn't luck. I think there's a mechanic to all of it. Mm-hmm. And I think as we get older in this industry and more wise, it's our role to pass that on and be ferocious about what we think those rules or mechanics are. Mm-hmm. So at Uncommon, there are key questions we ask in every review. When a junior or a senior person comes in, I'm asking the same questions. How is this famous? How does it dance on a cultural friction? What in this is going to be referred to? What am I going to take a photo of? Is there an icon or image for this idea within this campaign that someone could pass on or love? What bit of language could align with the way they see the world, not just the products and the category it lives in? Like, they've become second nature to us. And as a result, I would argue that's a key to our work being, you might not like all our work, but our work being of a certain standard.
Yeah.
And I think that's not about kind of luck and feeling it out and trust. I think it's partly about that, but it's partly about saying, I trust you, but within the guardrails we're setting within this culture.
Yes.
Because good at Wyden or good at BBH is not good here. It's different.
Yeah. Different. Would you go so far as to say those are horizontal comparisons, or are you saying they're vertical comparisons?
Being baited.
Yeah.
No, I genuinely think we're different. I think we have a different endpoint.
Yes.
I really do. I try where we can to push our work to a place where I think it will get talked about, make a dent and matter in a way that most advertising doesn't. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's good advertising. It means it's good creativity.
Yeah.
And that if someone can get hold of it or share it in their own way, and I've seen examples of that to the point where people are buying posters from us and they're buying statements from us. And, you know, that for me is a recognition that our work isn't necessarily what you would consider to be advertising. It's, you know, it's commercial art, or it's, you know, stuff that aligns with their worldview.
Dave Dye once said this thing to me. It was like, if it looks like an advert, if it registers, yep, that looks like the format. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, probably. You know, someone once said about our work, best advertising doesn't look like advertising anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's true, but I guess we're just trying to push for something else.
Okay.
The last thing I'd say to the point about are we comparative or not, I don't know whether BBH or whoever else are trying to become companies that people in the real world know. We are. So I would argue that our hit rate and every bit of work we make is pushing a little bit harder at something they're not. And that's not an arrogant thing to say. I just think they're happy maybe to be doing what they're doing, and I don't know what they're doing and I can't speak for them. But I know that Uncommon is desperate for all our work to be having a conversation in the real world with people where it's not an ad. So if we make something for B&Q around COVID and it says we will grow again, that's 100% not about selling flowers, is it?
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I just think it's trying to chime with that. Look, there's brilliant work made by other people in the industry. I'm not demeaning that. I just think the reminder here for us is that we're trying to do something a bit different.
Yeah.
Have a different relationship with the world.